Namaste and hello everyone. My name is Shivika and I help you navigate life through my experiences, lessons, and stories. In today's video, we'll be talking about how to find a part-time job in the UK. Now, I know a lot of international students find it really hard to look for jobs and apply for jobs and land a successful job, but we will be covering all of that in this video. Alongside that, at the end of the video, I'll be sharing some of the tips and hacks that I used or some of the others used that has been successful for them in landing a job in the UK. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Before we dive deeper into the video, let's get some basics right. As an international student on a full-time degree level course, you're only allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. Now, per week, according to the UKVI, means anytime between Monday and Sunday, which is a 7-day period. So you cannot be counting per week, or you cannot be counting up to 20 hours between a Tuesday and a Tuesday. In any given week, you're only allowed to work up to 20 hours during your term time. Now, every time you're on off, that is vacation time or off term time, you are allowed to work full time. But I highly suggest that you get a letter from your university that clearly states that you're on off term time and would be interested to work full time wherever it is that you're working. Well, now that we've made it clear that you can work up to 20 hours during term time on your student visa, I feel it's also important to let you know what you cannot do on your student visa. So keep in mind the duration that you're on your student visa, you cannot be self-employed, you cannot start a business, you cannot work as a professional sports person or an entertainer, and you cannot bind yourself on a permanent contract basis with any other employer. It's important to keep in mind that just when you finish uni, that is, you finish your final dissertation or finish your submissions and exams, you are allowed to work full-time on your student visa. Again, I highly recommend that you get a letter from university because a lot of employers can be very hesitant to hire you on your student visa. So it kind of helps to find a job quickly and apply and get through the process. But during the next 4 months, that is when you finish your dissertation and your visa expires, you also have the time to apply for your graduate route or the post-study work visa. That gives you 2 years to be in the UK, look for a job, or start working in another company. Now, during this time, yes, you can be self employed and do something of your own around that period. Now, another question that you might have is whether or not I work part time during university or after university. Then the answer is yes, I did. Soon after I finished uni, submitted my dissertation, I stayed back for another 4 months. Actually, I stayed back for 3 months and then I left for India. But then during those 3 months, I decided to look for part time roles and work. And what I did was I started applying online, and it was Indeed where I first applied for my job and then got my first job, which was as a packaging assistant in a warehouse. I had no idea what that would look like, but then yes, I did the job for about 3 weeks or a month and a half, I think. And eventually I knew that there were a lot of Christmas stamps jobs that were coming out, and I started applying for them. I did give out my CV personally to some of the stores in the city where I was back then, which is Coventry, and I did get offer letters from two of them. Now, during those 1.5 months of being a Christmas temp, I was working two jobs because, of course, I was allowed to work full time and I made use of it. And I kind of wanted to use my time as I was not wanting to stay at home. So I was working daytime in a cafe where I was a barista, and then I was also working night shifts in one of the grocery stores, one of the popular ones actually. And I was working there as their retail assistant from 11 o'clock till 7 in the morning. I kind of liked that job because there were no customers then, and then I would just put on my AirPods or my earphones on and listen to music and then just stock up all the shelves. And that is what I was supposed to do. Make everything look nice for the next morning when everyone else arrives and starts shopping. It was kind of fun job because I was first time working part-time and kind of getting the hang of working in the UK, meeting other people, and what really goes on behind the scenes in terms of a cafe and a big grocery store. So I enjoyed that phase. And if you're wondering how I found those jobs, was online. I went to the respective websites and even on Indeed, where there were a lot of postings around the month of mid October, end of October, because a lot of companies around that time look for Christmas temps because they know that the footfall in their stores is going to be really high. So they need more people in order to stock up and make sure every customer is served and the works. So during that time is a good time to apply. Again, a small tip that I can give to you if you're looking to work in November and December, because you also get paid really well. It is a busy time, it is Christmas time. Many people are out celebrating, taking vacation, but then if you're willing to work, you can make some good money and also have some good experience on your CV. Well, we're on the most important part of the video now, which is how do you find a part-time job in the UK as an international student? So here's 5 tips that you can use in order to apply for part-time jobs in the UK. Number 1, university portals. University portals like Unitemps, like I come from Warwick University and our portal was called Unitemps, where students could apply for jobs, are your immediate source of information in terms of where are there vacancies and where is it that you can apply as an international student. So I would highly recommend that you do apply on the university portal, whatever the portal is for your respective university. Leave your CV there, probably go and meet them in person and apply for jobs in your field, in your industry, or even like jobs where you can be a student ambassador or you could help out with the admissions team, because there's always admissions going on. Like in the month of September, there's a lot of new international students that come in, and then there are a lot of students that come in the January intake. So you can keep looking for jobs on the university portal and apply through them. If you're a university student who's watching this video and you know the name of your university jobs portal, then definitely put it in the comment section below, so that if there are any students incoming or who would like to study in the UK in that respective university, they can go down in the comment section and maybe find it useful to know what the job portal is called. Now, the second way you can find part-time jobs in the UK is through walk-ins. Start working in the city centre. It's as simple as that. It is a lot of hard work, but I've seen a lot of people do that, and some of them have really found successful jobs. Ignore the noise. But some of them have really found successful jobs by walking into different places and then letting them know that they're looking for a job, or dropping their CVs in those respective with those respective employers. Now, story time. Now let me tell you about a job that I found through a walk-in, or rather a cold call, which is really close to my heart because it is one of the part-time jobs that I loved working in because of the people I was surrounded with who are now friends, and then also the amount of learning I had on that job. So basically, when I moved to Preston in 2019, which was a very temporary move, I knew I'm going to be out of the city like in about 2 months maximum. But then it was 3 months. I had been sitting at home majorly working on my business. Like I mentioned, I was on the startup visa back then, and I thought to myself that I'm sick of sitting at home. How about I start applying for jobs, something that's really close to my house, so I don't have to really walk to town center, and I did not want it to become like a hassle. I just wanted a few hours out of the house and then come back in. And I had experience in hospitality. So someone I knew was already working in this place and mentioned to me that they might be recruiting for front of house staff. And what I did was I simply just made a call to that place. So I called this place and spoke to them, told them about my previous experience of working in different hospitality arrangements and having worked with bigger brands back in Coventry. And eventually, long story short, got the job. Well, don't get me wrong, I did have to come down to the premises to give an interview and let them know about myself, what work had I done before this, what was my hospitality experience like, what do I know about customer service, or whether or not I am a good spokesperson, somebody who's confident in talking to people. All of which I had done already, which kind of played a positive role in my overall selection, and then eventually I started working with this team. So what really is the lesson here? The lesson is that you need to go out there, do some walk-ins, do some cold calls, and let employers know that you exist and that you are looking for a job. Now, paired with that, I know that I had the experience, which you might not because you've just moved to the country and you've not had any other jobs. What you can do is start with the smaller businesses in your city or in your town. Start with a smaller role. Now, these are again part time roles in the hospitality space that I'm talking about. I'm not saying go for the bigger companies because it's harder to get them, but something that you can get instantly or within a lesser span of time would be jobs in hospitality, because there people are continuously recruiting and you might be the one for them. So you might not start at a front of house level where you need experience, but you might start at a different level where you can help the team in the back end or help the team say with your expertise in marketing. So my personal advice would be that always let the employer know what your skills are, what your expertise are, and you might be able to help the team in some way or the other. The third way that you can find a part time job is through websites that are already available, like Indeed, LinkedIn, Total Jobs, Reed. And there are so many other websites right now that post jobs regularly where you can leave your CV and apply. Now, a small tip that I would like to give you guys if you're using these platforms to apply for job is to customize your CV for each application. And number two, please track your applications. It drives me insane when I find out people have no idea of how many jobs they've applied for. They don't know how many applications or how many employers have reverted back to them. They have no idea what's really going on, but they're constantly just left, right, and center applying for jobs. How do you expect to find a job like that? I have no idea. But what I can advise is please keep a track of all the jobs that you're applying for by maybe having an Excel sheet so you know this is the employer, this is the role that I've applied for, and this is what I'll be getting paid, because, of course, money is important. Secondly, I would also advise that you customize your CV based on each job role that you're applying for. Even if you're making like 10 applications, a retail assistant job and a cafe barista job are two very different roles. You need to be able to distinguish the skills that you're applying for on each of their CVs. And number four will be meeting new people and word of mouth. I know so many people who have successfully found a job using word of mouth. It's important that you meet people in events, in career fairs, go out in town, know who's working in town, and connect with all these people to let them know that you are looking for a job. So if there is a vacancy in their workplace or if there is a vacancy with some employer, please let me know. And again, if you're wondering how to find these people, then I highly recommend to attend university events, talk to people, meet them, also find out where they're working, how they found the job. Another thing I would suggest is to go into career fairs where everyone is looking for a job, so you're all on the same page. And there might be some strategies or some tactics they're using that you might not know of, and then you can implement them in your life to successfully land a job. And another thing that you can do is work on your confidence and work on your communication skills. I have hired and fired a lot of people in my business as well as in other businesses. There was a business in town that I was managing for a really long time, and I was part of the HR. In fact, I was the one making decisions. And I was always advised to never hire somebody who's not able to make any conversation or is not confident in who they are and how they speak to people. So, the meeting people and asking for vacancies in other businesses or their business really works if you are a confident person and if you have good communication skills. These two are so key when you speak to new people. Every time there was a new person who would come to my business and ask me for a job or would want to work with me, the most important thing or the factor that would make me instantly decide whether or not I want to go to the next step or whether or not it's the end. I mean, I don't want to take the conversation forward, is your confidence and your communication skills. And this is just me. I mean, I am just a small person doing small little things, but still not wanting to work with someone who is not confident. I'm happy to help you build your confidence, but you need to do your work. You need to show me that in the background you're working on yourself, you're working on your confidence, you're working on your communication and conversational skills. And lastly, build your skills. I don't think this will ever get old, and I will always and always and always emphasize on this, that it's so important to build your skills skills, get the right certifications, right knowledge, and even if you don't have the means, I mean, even if you don't have the experience, then you're doing something online and learning. I want to know as an employer that you've understood what my business needs, the kind of skills it needs, you have in the background worked on them, and then come to me saying that these are the skills that I have which can really complement what your business does, and I can be a huge asset to your company. Now, this can really range from I have excellent customer service skills, so I can be a great asset to your front of house team, or I have great SEO skills that I built in the last 2 months, and I can increase the number of customers that you have dining in into your restaurant weekly. It's all about how you present yourself and the skills you bring to the table. Well, this brings us to the end of the video, and I hope you found the video useful and it has answered all your questions about finding a part-time job. But if you did not find the right answers to your questions, then feel free to book a one-to-one call where I can review your CV, review the way you apply or approach jobs, and how you're facing interviews, so I can help you and give you some tips in order to improve your presence in front of an employer. I have as a bonus linked some very important and useful information that may come handy when you're applying for jobs in the caption below, and a link to booking one-to-one call with me in case you want to speak further about your applying jobs journey in the UK. Well, I shall see you in the next video, but until then, you look after yourself, good luck for applying for jobs, and have a lovely week.